How's it going? Nice to meet you, it's your boy. When it comes to Minecraft 1.20, we know literally nothing. After all, 1.19 just released. That means this update could be anything. What if it's 1.20 Dry Desert Update? Well, that's what today's for. In today's video, we're going to take a look at 15 updates that would fit amazingly into a 1.20 Desert Update. Down below, let me know, if 1.20 is a Desert Update, what's one feature that you would love to see inside of that update? While you're headed down there, drop a like, and let's go. We kick off our big Dry Desert extravaganza today with one of the best updates that can ever be included in an update, a brand new type of tree. We don't know if a desert update will happen in 1.20 or 1.21 or when exactly, but we do know that whenever it does happen, a brand new type of tree is on the way, the palm tree. There are a couple different reasons to be excited about the palm tree. One of the big reasons is the aesthetic of this thing. The palm tree would look so cool. Look at what the devs did most recently with the mangrove tree. The thing is top tier, chef's kiss so good. And then check out the original version of the palm tree that we saw in this trailer. The leaf shaping, it's so unique. When the palm tree makes it into the game, one thing that I would love to see done with this thing is some kind of vibrant, alive leaf color. This would provide an amazing contrast to all of the other leaf colors that are just dried out and not very alive feeling inside of the desert. This would give builders brand new options. The addition of a palm tree in the game would be calm, it would be peaceful, it would add a little bit of variation to a dry, repetitive wasteland. The palm tree would of course never poison you, it would never attack you, it would never terrify you. No, of course, none of those things. The scorpion? Oh boy, the scorpion? That's not the case here. In fact, if the devs could maybe just forget that I ever said this idea, yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Haha, disturbing amount of legs and size aside. On the other hand, can be dogs? Maybe, please. Consider. Okay, so this totally could be the 12-year-old RuneScape kid inside of me thinking that giant scorpions are a great idea here, but imagine it. Some kind of giant scorpion that spawns inside of the desert, and it's just, I mean, the thing just literally hates you. It just attacks you and tries to poison you. In my perfect world that for some reason involves giant scorpions, this giant scorpion would be kind of like the cave spider. Some kind of big mob with way too many legs, and yeah, let me put emphasis on big, like absurdly large, not good. Big giant scorpion spawns inside of the desert, behaves like a cave spider, wanders around and tries to poison things. However, is not blind in the day and maybe deals a little bit more damage. I mean, after all, that poker looks pokey. Adding a hostile creature to an environment that already feels a little bit hostile, I mean, it's a perfect match. This thing would definitely make you think twice before heading into a desert early game. But wait, what's that? Hostile creatures can't be real life mobs? Oh, okay. Well, okay, fine. We could settle for something maybe not equally as dangerous and definitely not equally as alive. Instead of an alive creature in the desert, we find quicksand. For some reason, I jumped into quicksand and, funnily enough, now I'm not really moving very quick. I'm slowed down, and I sunk. I'm using an old mod to check this stuff out. It is very, very obvious, insanely apparent that there's quicksand right here. Of course, in any world where quicksand looks like this, you would never jump into it. But powder snow, oh boy, this stuff is dangerous, and it blends in, like, pretty well. If quicksand were to be added into the game, the devs could basically take what they did with powder snow and copy and paste it. Except, maybe not the freezing part. That doesn't exactly make sense. They could come up with something better. Palm trees are going to be great, they're going to be nice, but admittedly, when the desert update happens, I don't think they're going to be the star of the show. I think the meerkat is going to take that one. Please allow me to present you the meerkat, otherwise known as the dolphin of the desert. Look at the model on this thing. It's perfect. The meerkat added into the game like this. Chef's kiss. That's exactly it. That's all we need. It's perfect. Forget everything else. From the original reveal trailer of the meerkat, we know literally one thing about him, and that's it. We know that the meerkat likes fish. This gives me an idea. So you know how the dolphins in Minecraft like fish, and you know how if you give a dolphin, the dolphin will then lead you to the nearest structure, whether it's a ruin or a shipwreck, as long as the dolphin is in a tiny lake? How did that end up there? Well, yeah, imagine that, but inside of the desert. You're wandering the desert, you find a meerkat. You really want out of the desert because it's dry and there's like literally no food, nothing good here. Well, problem solved. You give the meerkat fish, and then the meerkat will then lead you to the closest interesting structure inside of the desert. Maybe that's a desert temple? Or, the meerkats, my good friends, where have you led me? An abandoned campsite, a brand new structure that could be in the desert update that would be absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh, you're so good, you could take all of the fish. So next up, inside of the desert update, I'd love to see more structures inside of this biome. I don't know what it is with the desert and the idea of an abandoned campsite, but I feel like it's like perfect. Picture this, you're you, wandering through the desert, so much sand, like too much sand everywhere, but then eventually, suddenly, whoa, popping up, over a hill. You get closer to this thing and you find some kind of outpost. There's a tent here. Who set this up? Now that I think about it, not only who set this up, but where are they? Can I take this stuff? Is it up for grabs or are they coming back? So many questions that will never be answered. I love things that add to the lore of the game. Some kind of abandoned structure in the middle of a desert, somewhere where nobody would ever want to live in their right minds. I love that idea. I imagine at these abandoned campsites, you'd find campfires unlit, and then maybe barrels and containers with loot. This loot wouldn't be the best loot in the game, but it could maybe link to the meerkat somehow, so like fish. Of course, abandoned campsite inside of the desert, you need a tent, and then maybe inside of the tent, even more loot, potentially even good loot. Being able to find some kind of rare structure generating in the desert every once in a while would definitely incentivize players to explore this place. When it comes to good, not overpowered loot that you could find generating this place, I've got 3 ideas. Idea number 1, the Wither Rose. Doesn't make sense at all, with so many questions. Idea number 2, some kind of piece of armor, maybe enchanted. The wearer had to take it off because of the heat of the desert. Idea number 3, an abandoned lost treasure map. Just like with a shipwreck, it's a map. You get this map, you follow it to the X, and then below the sand, there's treasure. This stuff could also tie into the archaeology update that's down the road at some point too, like perfectly. But speaking of maps inside the desert, maybe you're not a huge fan of repeating the whole shipwreck concept but on land. Well, that's fine. Maybe the map that you find inside this abandoned campsite leads you to an oasis. This oasis is maybe in some way linked to the lore, the storyline of that abandoned campsite. This oasis would be a brand new biome, but also kind of like a structure. You know what? I don't know what this thing is. The Oasis is the 3rd desert feature that was revealed when the desert update was first put up to vote. What is the Oasis? Is it a biome? Is it a structure? I know the devs did a lot of work with biome generation in 1.18, but is it possible to have an Oasis consistently generate in the middle of a desert? I don't know. So maybe make it a structure. If you want to keep the desert dry and barren still, then maybe the Oasis is the only place in the entire game that you'll be able to find palm trees. So you're really going to have to explore the desert or find one of those campsites. If we're going the treasure map route, I would love to see the Oasis have some kind of good loot here too. This loot wouldn't have to be the best thing in the world. It could be a diamond, or maybe it's a music disc. I've always thought the music disc should generate in specific spots. Maybe we could take a 13 music disc, and because it's yellow, sand, yellow too, kind of, I don't know, make it generate exclusively at the Oasis in a loot chest. 13 is very creepy, also very creepy, a random map at an abandoned campsite that leads to an oasis with maybe a campfire that is this time lit. Whoever has found this oasis is close. The devs have said that they want to improve the atmosphere inside of the biomes in Minecraft. One easy way to improve the atmosphere inside of the desert is actually changing nothing. Look at me, what have I done? I've wandered into the desert and then the weather got bad. The weather is so bad that the sand is now starting to pile up. Like literally, look at this right here. That's a layer of sand. I'm in the middle of a sandstorm right now, and it's not good. And apparently this sand layer is absolutely massive. Okay then. Basically, what we'd be looking at here is making rain happen in the desert, except when the rain happens in the desert, it's sand. The sand happening in the desert would be exactly like snow happening in the colder biomes. While this sandstorm is happening, sand would pile up. Honestly, the weather system as a whole is kind of outdated and underappreciated. Expanding the climate system in certain biomes, especially the desert, could add to the immersion big time. What do you think? Are sandstorms a good idea? And if sandstorms are added into the game, should the player take damage in them too? Or is that too extreme?
Oh boy, I don't know about you, but that last one was sandy.
Haha. Anyways, vibe check. To pass the vibe check, all you need to do is leave a like. Let's continue. We have all seen the llama. The llama exists in the game, it spawns in the mountainy biomes, and I mean, it's a llama. We have also all definitely seen the horse. The horse spawns in a ton of different biomes, and I mean, it's a horse. You can get on it and ride it. Only me has seen the camel. The camel would be a brand new horse llama-like mob that would spawn inside of the desert in this desert update. What does this wonderful camel do, you ask? Well, of course, it's the horse, it's the llama, it's everything. Listen, the camel, it is the Lamborghini of the 4-legged mobs that you can get on top of. Take the sheer willpower, speed, and determination of the horse. Then take the chest of the llama. Wait a second, how do you do this again? Or wait, no, it's the donkey. It's the donkey that has a chest in it. Sorry about that, llama. Well, anyways, it's like a horse with a chest in it, and it's in the desert, and maybe it doesn't jump very much. Boom. There you go, camel. You meet the camel exclusively in the desert. Maybe at that oasis place. Let's actually go back to that abandoned campsite idea for a minute, because I feel like we're missing something here. I mean, we've got this loot chest out there. We've got that. Nothing under there. What about... Oh. What about the back of... Oh. There's a... Oh. Coconuts. Ah, yes. Coconuts. Look, I don't make the rules around here, but if we're going to add a brand new type of tree, and that tree is going to be the palm tree, then it is a legal obligation. We have to add the coconut into the game as well. The coconut would be a brand new type of food that you'd be able to grow on the leaves of the palm tree. Kind of like a propagule. And what if I told you that coconuts have actually already been revealed for a couple years now? Would you believe me? No? Oh, well, you're wrong. Look at that right there. What is that? You can clearly see there's a wood texture right there and then something different. That's a coconut. A coconut growing on the palm tree. When it comes to the coconut, I'm a huge fan of taking what the devs did with the propagule inside of the mangrove swamp and copy and pasting it. Except this time, you bone meal the bottom of a palm tree leaf and you get a coconut. Then you bone meal that coconut a couple more times and it grows up. After all of that, instead of planting the coconut on the ground, you did it. Just like the scorpion that we talked about way earlier on today, another creature that I would love to see added to the game, but also kind of hate at the same time, the snake. Look at this version of the snake. This thing is, well, in fact, I think it's a ton of dice. Okay, so I know the tone nowadays seems to be like setting an example for real world, blah, 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 that kind of thing. But let's imagine a world where the desert update is a thing, and inside of that desert update, the devs are looking for a neutral mob to be added into the desert update. The snake could potentially be a nice fit. Meaning if you're traveling the desert and you see a snake, you could run if you want to, but you also don't have to. Until you hit the snake. Snakes could be like bees. If you've ever played the game and accidentally hit a bee with other bees nearby, then you know what happens. The only good thing about the bees is that they sting you once and then they're done. That wouldn't work like that with a snake. Mechanically, that's how I think it would go. Aesthetically, well, aesthetically, a snake in Minecraft, yeah, that might be a little bit tricky. I'm a big fan of making the desert feel really dry and really desolate. I'm also a large dinosaur fan. Look, Minecraft already has fossils, except they're insanely rare. They're so cool, like it's such a cool idea, but they're so rare that you like literally never find them. Maybe you didn't even know they exist. Well, yeah, they exist. Maybe not quite like this one, but they're real. Imagine being able to wander through the desert and find something like this on the surface rarely. Like, very rarely. Insanely rarely. Like, it almost never happens. I'm gonna be honest, I just think it would be cool to see a giant dinosaur skull on the ground, and the desert kind of makes sense. Let's go with it. If only there was a feature already kind of in the game that we could just, add into the update, make the update a little bit bigger. Oh, wait, what? There's something in the game that's basically ready to go? The bundle. If we want to add a little bit of justification, aesthetically, this thing could fit perfect at the abandoned campground. Bundles inside of a desert update? I don't know. I feel like it kind of makes sense. Honestly, how do we feel about revamping old structures already in the game? Do we like the idea or do we not? On one hand, take a look at what the devs did with the 1.14 village update. The villages are better than ever. On the other hand, the desert pyramid is kind of a classic OG structure. It's nice how it is. Do we need another type of desert pyramid generating in the desert? Maybe not. But also, if we didn't want to update that classic structure, then maybe we do. A brand new type of desert pyramid that you could find inside of the desert that's maybe a little bit different. That could be pretty cool. Revamping the desert pyramid, there are a couple different ways the devs could go about this. This mod that I'm using right now goes the ancient Egypt route, where basically you have this pyramid that generates, and down below the floor, you have a loot room. You break into this loot room and you can take all the loot, or get a curse. But seeing as the devs like to set good examples nowadays, recommending players go into the desert, find a pyramid and break into it, steal all the valuables, not the best example. So maybe we add a brand new variant to the classic desert temple. To have this variant, you really don't have to change too much. If you want to get fancy with it, change the color of terracotta on the outside. If you want to keep it minimalistic and simple, put a spawner in the middle on the inside. Get rid of the treasure room below. That's the difference. This mod is seriously so cool though. Should I do a showcase of this thing? Look, I'm stuck on this idea. I need help. I'm fixated. Lily pads. Better lily pads specifically, or maybe more specifically, flowering lily pads. I really wanted to see this idea get added into the swamp update in 1.19. Thought it was a perfect fit, but apparently not. A flowering lily pad would be perfect for a 1.20 desert update. It'd be a small, simple plant that you'd find generating on the water that is on top of the dry wasteland. Wait a second. This makes no sense. Aha, gotcha, tricked you. It makes perfect sense. A lily pad generating inside of the brand new oasis biome that generates inside of the desert. Exclusively. A flower on top of the lily pad, though it's not the most revolutionary idea, this thing would be amazing for terraforming. And I mean, come on, it's a flower on top of the water on the lily pad. That's so cool. That's so different. Come on, how could you not? And here we are, the final spot of the list today. Thank you for watching all the way through. So, you would think that this one would be self-explanatory, but apparently not. I will never, in my life, forget the Azalea incident of 2021. One of the coolest parts about the Wild update is definitely the brand new type of wood. An entire wood family. Boats, fences, pressure plates, trapdoors, wood, and wood, and wood. A new type of wood. Whenever this desert update happens, we know for a fact that we'll be getting palm trees in the game. We have to, it's essential that with a brand new type of tree, a tree that generates in a biome that is insanely unlike all of the other tree biomes, we get a new type of wood. A whole new family. When it comes to the coloration of woods that we have in the game, nowadays we have a lot of options, but also we don't have a lot of options. What about green? A wood color with a hint of lime, kind of like the Verdant Froglight. That could be cool. A wood color with a hint of yellow, kind of like sand. Also very cool. Look, as long as the Azalea Tree Massacre of 2021 doesn't repeat itself, I'm happy. You're happy. Everyone's happy. So, 1.20 Desert Update. What do you think? Do you think there's any chance that the 1.20 update could end up being a Desert Revamp update? Or do you think it's going to be something else? I'd like to send a big thank you to my patrons, Austin V, Andrew H, Gabriel Y, and Paul P. Thank you for the support. It helps me make content like this. If you like thinking and dreaming about the future, I recommend checking out this video next. In that one, we talk all about other potential 1.20 themes. If you made it to this point in the video, you're literally my best friend now. Thank you. I appreciate you. Like, subscribe. It's been me, your boy. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.